Hi my honey bunnies and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So as you've probably guessed from the title, this is a fertility journey, ask me anything Q&A. So a couple of weeks ago I asked you guys on Instagram to ask me any questions that you had about my fertility journey. Maybe there was something that I didn't cover that you wanted to ask, or maybe you just wanted me to go more in depth about something that I've shared in regards to my fertility journey. So I got lots of questions. I'm going to try and get through as many as possible without making the answer super long, because you know I love to talk. And yeah, thank you so much for submitting all of those questions. And while I'm here, I also just want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being so kind, for being so open and vulnerable and sharing your stories with me on YouTube, on Instagram, and also just being there and being such a huge support to me throughout this journey. Of course, as you know, I shared my journey retrospectively, and that was just because I didn't know what the outcome was going to be like. I didn't know what to expect, and yeah, I just wanted to see where I was at before I shared it. So the day that I got my negative pregnancy test was the day I dropped my first vlog and reel, and honestly your support has just been touching. It's been amazing, so thank you from the bottom of my heart so much. So I guess I'm just going to get straight into it. So the first question is, are you planning another round of IVF? Praying you get your success soon. So yes, we are planning another round of IVF. It's actually coming up. We're now in November and we have a gorgeous, amazing holiday to New York booked, which I can't wait. We're going next week. It's like a dream come true, and we thought, let's use this opportunity, let's use this moment in time where things haven't quite went to plan to do something gorgeous for us. So we're going away, and then when we get back we're starting another round of IVF. The same protocol, the same amount of time, the same injections, the same drugs, the same procedures, everything is going to be the same. They were happy with how things went. And yeah, a few people have said maybe ask to add additional progesterone in after implantation. So I'm actually going to the clinic tomorrow to pick up my shots, to pick up my protocol, and then to get my medication. So I think I'm gonna have a discussion with them about that when I go in. So the next question is, how many cycles have you been through? I've currently been through one IVF cycle, and let me tell you, one is enough. But we'll go through as many as we need. Somebody asked, did they give any explanation as to why the embryo didn't stick? Thinking of you. Well, thank you so much for thinking of me. And actually no, I did ask. There was a section that I recorded that I actually didn't put into the vlog because I totally forgot, where I rang up the clinic on the day that we received our negative pregnancy test, and basically I did ask. I said, look, is there a reason why it didn't stick? What is the situation? And they were like, literally, we don't know. Like, we can monitor everything so closely. We kind of do the scans. We then go in and like look at how many follicles, and we'll retrieve the eggs, and we'll look at those through the microscope with the sperm, and then we'll put them together. They become embryos, and we're very kind of, I don't know, like hot on looking at everything and managing everything. But when it gets to the point where they put the embryo in and implantation, there's nothing that they can do to monitor that and look at that and see why that's working, why it's not working. How did it stick? Did it not stick? What were the reasons for it not sticking? Like, at what point did it decide not to stick? And like, one of the nurses, she was so lovely. All of the nurses were lovely, but she was like, sometimes I just wish we could put a little camera on it and see what it does when it goes in there. But there's no real reason. You know, I've worked so hard on my health with my naturopath, Bridget. You know, I've got all my thyroid levels are brilliant. They're really low. My medication's brilliant where it should be. My endo's in a good place. You know, I had my surgery last year, and you know, it's been monitored through all of the scans and stuff. Obviously I have thyroid, underactive thyroid, Hashimoto's, so you've got to look at antibodies, and my antibodies were coming down as well. So like, everything looked good, theoretically speaking, but you just don't know. And that embryo was a grade A, excellent, brilliant quality embryo. You know, like, I haven't done like super loads of research because I kind of just don't want to get myself super worked up about it. So I just let them tell me what I need to know. But they said that this embryo was exceptional quality, and you know, it didn't stick. So I guess it's just one of those things. Unexplained infertility is definitely a hard one to bear. This leads me on to my next question. Somebody said, I'm going to go through it soon, but wanted to check if endo was the reason IVF was needed. So this is a good question, because quite a few people have assumed that it was because of me endo. And I'm not going to lie, I think it was because of my endo, but then equally, the consultant, all of the staff were saying it was unexplained infertility. So if you don't know what that means, it basically is what it says on the tin, unexplained infertility. There's no real reason why you're infertile. So last year Connor went for his analysis, his sperm was borderline. Then he went back 3 months later and had cut out his protein shakes, and his sperm count and morphology and all of that kind of stuff was normal. And they did all my blood, they did my day 21 progesterone, they did my AMH, like my ovulation reserve, and not my ovulation, my egg reserve. They did all of that and it was very normal and good. They did an ultrasound, both my ovaries were fine, and of course I had just had my surgery in the July, and that was apparently all a success and great, and my surgeon had preserved my fertility. So theoretically speaking, we were in a good position, but something was stopping it. So I had reservations because I was like, I don't want to just jump into IVF. Like, we've been trying for like nearly 2 years at this point, but I was equally just like, you know, like I'm hopeful, I'm positive, I'm optimistic. Like, is there something that we could do? Is there something that we're not doing? And I had a chat with a consultant, and she said, look, with your age and with your endometriosis can come back, and it does come back, and you have a very complex pelvis anatomy. That was our words. I would suggest you go for it because you're bypassing your full pelvic region and we're going exactly where we need to go. And so we decided to go along with it. So nobody's ever said you are struggling to get pregnant because of your endometriosis, but in my heart I feel like it's that, because I know that my left ovary was stuck to the side of the wall of like my uterus, I think. Was it my yeah. And I just think that there's just been so much growth there over the years, and I've just been left and completely neglected, that could have, it's definitely not helped, put it that way. And then I think when you start stressing about it, your nervous system's not in rest, it's not in chill, it's literally in fight or flight. I just think that doesn't help either. So yeah, they've never said it's my endometriosis, but they did say my endometriosis plays a part in why they would want to give me the IVF so soon. But it's not even soon, because it's like at this point we've been trying for way over 2 years. So yeah, it's a hard one. I can't really answer that question. I think in my heart, I think it has a big part to play in it, but yeah. So somebody said, what was the hardest part? Now I like this question because I think going into IVF, I was very scared of the injections. I hate injections. I was very scared of it changing my personality, of it changing my mood, of it changing me as a person. I was very fearful of it affecting my relationship. I'm a very fearful person in a lot of ways, and I was scared of everything. When I started going through it, of course injections are not nice, they sting, they hurt. They do make you feel like you're going through the menopause at times, you know, they make you quite hot and quite fatigued and tired and distended and bloated, but in general I responded really well to all of the medications, so I'm super grateful for that, and touch wood that's the same thing that happens this time. But I think the hardest part for me personally was after the implantation. So after they did the embryo transfer, I didn't know how to act, I didn't know how to be. I was like, do I walk around? Do I go for a walk? Do I sit down? Do I lie down? What do I do? Am I being mindful enough? Am I being chill enough? Am I giving the embryo the best chance that it can have? I was overthinking it, and then as the time approached for us to take the test, I was starting to get cramps, I was starting to get some spotting. It wasn't great. And in my heart I knew that it hadn't worked, and the day before that, the 2 days before I took my test, the anxiety started to really step it up to the point where I felt like I was going to have like maybe a panic attack, because I didn't want to let Connor down. And I'm not going to cry in this video. Yeah, I didn't want to let Connor down. I'm kind of, and this probably sounds really defeatist, but I'm kind of used to things going a bit pear-shaped in my life. And I just thought, like, why would it work? Why would it work? Why would anything go to plan for me? Why would anything be easy for me? And I feel like I can cope with that, and I feel like I can accept that. But because I love Connor so much, I I want to protect him from anything that's going to hurt him, and I knew what was coming, and that was unbearable. It was absolutely unbearable. So for me, that weight and then that knowing, that intuition of knowing what the test was going to say it was heartbreaking. It really was. All of those weeks, all of the positive, optimistic energy, all of the hope, all of the potential what could be, you know, thinking about when your baby would be born and all of that kind of stuff, for it to then just go down the drain. Yeah, that's the hardest part. And I think people who get pregnant easy and just like naturally, and I don't think, like, your journey starts when you get that positive test, but for people who have to go through IVF, your journey starts before that embryo is even a thing. Your journey starts the first day of your injections, your downreg injections, which turn your ovaries off. So it's just, you're invested so much earlier than you would be if you went through it naturally, and so there's a lot more to lose, if that makes sense. But by no means am I saying that, you know, going through a natural pregnancy isn't hard, because of course it is. That comes with a whole host of problems and a whole host of concerns and worries, and like that's exactly where I'll be once I get pregnant. I'll be then presented with all of these other worries that, you know, things that can potentially go wrong and what have you. But yeah, it's just a really hard, emotionally trying journey. So the next question is, how have you dealt with losing people along the way? I felt so alone during this whole process. And I got another question that was very similar. How do you stay connected to friends, family, support and network through it all? Yeah, it is a very lonely process, I would say, personally. I don't think, it's hard because family and friends can be like, I'm here for you, and, you know, like, hope it goes well, and let me know how the appointment goes and how are you doing, but nobody's living through that with you. And like, my mum was very kind and said that she'd come and do the injections for me, and that's just because your mum is your mum, isn't she? And like, you're gonna let your mum do an injection for you. And Connor, Connor did do a few, but I think it was nice. Like at first it was just, we just asked her to do like the first few days just for us to get in the swing of things. My little sister's diabetic, so like she's been having injections since she was like 8, so my mum's like well versed in injecting, and you know, I could, these injections are designed so you can do them yourself, but I hate injections. I'm terrified of injections. So she did the injections for us the whole way through, and it meant like she really lived through the process with us. So she knew how hard it was. She could see me on my good days, on my bad days, where my tummy was starting to get more distended and sore, and the bruises were coming, and the anticipation, and then the trigger injection and all of that. She lived through that, so she truly did feel everything we felt. But anybody else, I'd say it's really hard. It's really hard for people to relate if they've not been through it themselves. It's as simple as that. It's like with anything. It's like with a chronic disease or chronic illness, or, you know, like a life-threatening, so anything that is quite life-altering and you haven't been through it, you can empathize, but you can't fully understand that. So I am a very empathetic person, so I understand that for them, if that makes sense. Like, I don't expect too much from anybody because I understand that they won't get it. And so I did feel pretty lonely going through it. I do share a lot of my life, a majority of my life, with my audience, as you know, and that gives me a lot of comfort. And I feel like I've got like thousands and thousands of friends because a lot of you have been through what I've been through, and that is comforting. There is support groups and, you know, like meetups and stuff, but for me, in that moment, I wasn't sharing with my audience, and I didn't want to go into these meetups or go into these Facebook forums because I didn't want any negativity. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. A lot of people want to share their losses, want to share their failed rounds and how long it's took, and it's been years. And I think I was just trying to be positive, just trying to think the best, and I just didn't want to hear anything that wasn't positive. So I didn't reach out to anybody. I didn't have any support. Like, one of my friends, she had IVF, so I spoke to her briefly, which was really helpful. And yeah, I didn't yeah, it did begin to feel quite lonely, and yeah, I don't really know what else to say apart from you do find out who your real friends are. You know, I think you do have friends for reasons and you have friends for seasons, and I think, yeah, like some people will leave when things get hard and when things are good for them and things aren't so great for you, or you know, you need that support and a friend doesn't feel like they want to be on that journey with you. And if that's the case, and that was the case for me, then that's fine, you know, just they weren't meant to be in your life to start with anyway. So yeah, just let those people go, and it makes space for new friendships, for new energy. And it also helps alleviate you of any dead weight, because if people aren't 100% in your circle for the right reasons, and they're only there for the good times, not for the tough times too, and they're very much self-centered or just focused on their journey rather than what a genuine deep friendship should be, and that's a mutual exchange, then you're better off without them anyway. So I would definitely just say like just see it as a way of like getting rid of people who aren't meant to be in your life anyway, and it gives a space for new and amazing connections to form anyway, because that's what's happened for me. So yeah. Somebody's put, my journey is very similar to yours and heading down the IVF route. Thanks for all your content. You're welcome. So many people have said that, and I'm just so pleased that me sharing has helped so many of you, has shone a light on something that is in the shadows for a lot of people, and it's just going to be, I don't know, like a point of reference, or can give you a little bit of reassurance and hope throughout a time which can feel really lonely. So yeah, I would just say keep talking, do what makes you happy, you know, treat yourself, get all of those feel-good hormones going through your body, because that's what's going to help the production of all of those follicles and those eggs, and it's what's going to help the embryo stick, and that is the most important thing. So be selfish, do what suits you, absolutely. Somebody's asked, will I be sharing my journey again? I will be, but I'll be doing it in a bit of a different format. I am starting my new injections, so my second cycle in December. I will probably just share it real time, to be honest, and we'll just see how it goes. I'm probably not going to do it as in depth, I don't think. I'll definitely still vlog. I'll keep it maybe more lifestyle and show you what I'm doing, because it's going to be over Christmas, but also include all of the IVF stuff, and I'll definitely be sharing on Instagram as well. So yeah. Somebody's asked, have I ever been pregnant previously? No, I haven't. And lots of you sending lots of love, and I really appreciate that, and I love you guys so much too. Somebody's asked, were you on any contraception before you started trying? Can you give a backstory on that? So if you haven't seen, I have a full video on my endometriosis journey and recovery. That will give you a good insight into what I was on, contraception, like my story and all of that kind of stuff. So just to give you a very, very brief summary, I was on the pill from being 16 to about 26. I come off the pill, my endometriosis really started to gear it up like towards the end of my 20s. I was using natural cycles to prevent pregnancy when I met Connor, and then I swapped it to get pregnant, and yeah, so I was using that to track my ovulation and stuff. So I wasn't on the pill from being 26, and yeah, I'm now 33. So somebody said, do you ever get anxiety about family and friends announcing pregnancies when you're trying to conceive? So yes, I briefly mentioned this. Like, I feel like loads and loads and loads of people just got pregnant in the time that me and Connor started trying, to going through my surgery to then like, which was like absolutely fine. And then like, obviously as I started moving towards getting referred to the fertility clinic, and then I had been referred to the fertility clinic, like loads of friends were getting pregnant, and I was just like, oh my god. Then my little sister got pregnant, but that was really hard because of course I love her and I'm so happy for her, you know, she's my little sister. She's like, I'm 8 years older than her, and I was just like, oh my god, this is amazing. But I had literally just been given my date to go into the fertility clinic, and it just felt really bittersweet because, oh my god, my nephew, who was born 6 weeks ago, so nearly 7 weeks ago, is like the most precious thing. I'm obsessed with him. I love him so much, and he was actually born the day after my egg retrieval. So yeah, that was just hard because I can't explain it, because like now I'm quite numb to pregnancy announcements and I'm a bit like nonchalant about it. Since getting my negative pregnancy test, I feel like I've disassociated and detached from my feelings a little bit, I'm going to be honest. And now, like, looking back, I'm just like, I don't care. Like, it's not that I don't care, but like I don't have any feeling associated with that. But I think that's a protection survival mode from my whole system, you know, to try and prevent me from being hurt anymore. But like when my sister and like told me, I was like so happy but also just so sad, because I was thinking I just want that for me too. And that was hard because you're going through this whole journey and you just want to be happy for your sister and your friends, and but it's like you can't help, you'll know yourself, you can't help but just think, when's it going to be my turn, you know? And here I am like years later and I'm still thinking, when's it going to be my turn? So it is hard. I try not to think about it, to be honest. There's almost like a part of you that wonders why it's easy for them but it's not easy for you. Yeah, it's just hard. It's hard. And like I've had loads of messages from you guys being like, I can't pretend that I'm happy, or like, you know, putting on this false front of, oh, amazing, and then you go home and cry and stuff. Like, yeah, it's just, honestly, it's tragic. It's really tragic, and I just feel for you all who are going through this. And yeah, I try not to think about it, to be honest. Somebody's put, hi Beth, have you had a HSG test? I have mine soon and feeling really worried about it. What is that? A special x-ray examination which looks at the inside of your womb, uterus and fallopian tubes. That's cool. Well, I think because I had my surgery last July, I feel like I had something similar during my surgery. I know he definitely flushed my tubes and stuff, but I'm going to put that in my note for when I go to the clinic tomorrow and ask them about it. So I've had a few questions about how long. So hi Beth, how long did it take to be referred from the GP to the fertility clinic? Thank you. And did you need to make a case to be prioritised for IVF on the NHS? And there's a few other questions like this. So I didn't need to make a case, and my thought process behind that is I think my GP surgery realised that they failed me, which happens to so many people. So unfortunately I had been complaining to my GP from being about 16 that I've got all of these gynecological issues, pain, heavy bleeding, which just got worse. Got put on the pill, like many people do, and then when I come off the pill, you know, I would go back to the doctors, blah blah blah. I was told I've got IBS, it's just a bad period, take this mefenamic acid, take this tranexamic acid, take this. So it was always just put a plaster over it, ignore it. And then as I got towards the back end of my 20s and got into my 30th year of life, things got really severe, and obviously it was the pandemic. So I was just kind of fobbed off and told, listen, realistically, we would need to do a laparoscopy and you're not going to get that done during this time period, so just go back on the pill. And I didn't want to. I knew I wanted to have a baby with Connor. It's like, I don't want to go on the pill. So I was fobbed off a lot for years and years, and I wasn't taken seriously. And then it got so bad that at the start of last year, camera reached maximum recording time there. Yeah, I was in so much pain. I was in so much debilitating pain. I got my Hashimoto's, which is my underactive thyroid, which I truly believe is because it was triggered by the amount of stress and chronic pain I was having in my body. And eventually I got taken seriously by a GP who literally referred me for an ultrasound and was like, okay, my God, we need to push you through the 2-week cancer pathway because we can't see your ovary. Your CO1-2 levels are so raised, something's not right here. And then I had my MRI, and then I got my diagnosis when I had my surgery for endo. And I think with that being said, everybody, including the GP, including the surgeon, thought she's going to get pregnant after this, and that's going to be the thing that's maybe stopped it. And because I didn't, when I spoke to my doctor, who's the gynecological lead at our surgery in the September-October time after my surgery, I said, look, I'm really concerned. It's been like 4 months post-surgery. We're still not pregnant. People talk about like getting endo surgery and getting pregnant literally immediately after having a surgery. And I thought that was going to be me. And because I didn't, and I think they just looked at my records and thought, you know what, this girl has been fobbed off. Let's refer her because she's got endometriosis. She's been trying for nearly, I think at this point it was about 18 months. Let's refer her. And so they referred me in the I did my day 21 progesterone ovulation test with them, got referred. I got seen in the January. Connor had his analysis in the November, in the February, and then of course we waited for our start date. We had like appointments in between then, you know, like a consultant's appointment, and we started having couples therapy with the fertility therapist, and we started our injections in August. So we got referred last October and we started our first cycle in August. So yeah, I hope that helps. Somebody's asked, how did you find out you had endo? I think I've literally just answered that, but also I will link a few of my videos that'll tell you all about my endometriosis journey. That'll probably be helpful for you to watch as well. Somebody's asked, hi Beth, I'm just wondering if you were offered Clomid or IUI before doing IVF. So no, I wasn't. I'm not 100% sure what Clomid is for. I've heard it so many times, but with Connor's sperm being absolutely fine, I ovulate like clockwork. My cycle is like clockwork every month. I think drugs and stuff, like giving us drugs to enhance our fertility, weren't an option. I did ask about IUI, I pushed for that, and they said unfortunately they didn't offer it there, and they didn't really think it was a viable option because apparently it's only got like a 5% better success rate than having natural intercourse does, if that makes sense. So they were like, it's not in the NICE guidelines anymore. So if that was something we wanted to do, the consultant would have considered it, but she believed that IVF was the best option. So we didn't go down that road because I wanted to do something less invasive before IVF. But yeah. Somebody's asked, do the injections hurt? Some days they do and some days they don't. They're very stingy. What I used to do, I would have a little ice pack, I'd put it on my tummy for a minute or two, inject. I felt like it was quite stingy when it goes in, and then of course you go from 1 injection to 2 injections per day, but they're manageable. They are manageable. They do hurt, but I feel like I've done it once, I can do it again, and honestly you're stronger than you realise. Like when you go through this journey, you'll realise you're an absolute superwoman, you're resilient, you're strong, and you can do anything. You can do all of the things you thought that you couldn't do. Somebody said, I got a fertility bracelet from Etsy and that really helped me feel more positive. Well, interestingly, I've been wearing my lovely fertility bracelet from Mart at Canny Crystals. He gave me a gorgeous package of crystals that I've been enjoying and using and just absorbing all of the good energy. So I'm hoping that, which I've had on every day since he gave me it, is going to bring me lots of good fertile energy. And I just have to mention this one because it's hilarious. Not a question, McDonald's fries after implant day. Worked with my sister, my best friend. I love McDonald's fries, and I'm not gonna lie, after I had my retrieval, I actually went and had McDonald's because I was so hungry because I hadn't eaten. But I might try that after I've had the implantation this time. So somebody said, will you be sharing the rest of your journey? Found it so helpful as someone who may need to do the same. Like mentioned, yeah, I'm gonna share it. I am probably gonna be a little bit more informal, a little bit more blend it with lifestyle content and just keep it as light-hearted as I can, because I found editing the content was just really heavy and I found it to be quite triggering reliving it. So I think when I share it this time, I'll do it live. I'll do it like real time, if that makes sense. So make sure you follow me on Instagram, make sure you keep an eye on my YouTube, join my broadcast channel, all of those good things, because your girl is going to be posting. There's literally so many questions here, but I feel like I have covered the majority of them. The last one I'm gonna answer is, lots of you are asking how me and Connor are doing, and lots of you are sending lots of love, and lots of you are saying, how do you keep your relationship strong through it all? And also another question that I got quite a lot was the best tips for staying positive throughout your experience. So I guess I'll end on those 3 questions. I think the best tips for staying positive throughout the whole experience is just to be open, be willing to accept what happens, be very vocal, and be selfish. and do what pleases you. The best advice I got from the nurses was, don't do anything that you're going to regret. Don't do anything that you think, oh, if I hadn't have done that, would it have worked? Or, oh, if I hadn't have done this, or if I had done this, would it have worked? Trust your gut, trust your intuition. You know your body better than anyone else, and do things that make you happy. So treat yourself. Enjoy the small things. Lie on the sofa and watch TV if you want to. Enjoy your partner running around after you. Make sure you have clear boundaries. Clear boundaries of what you will accept and what you won't accept. Put yourself first. It's so hard this day and age to put yourself first. But honestly speaking, prioritize you. You are handing your body over to science. You are saying, here's my body, you can do what you want with it, and I'm going to take all the drugs. I'm going to be full of hormones. I'm not going to know who I am. I might have all of these side effects. So guess what? I'm just surrendering to that. But with that, you've got to treat yourself. So you're doing all of that. You're carrying the burden. You're carrying the load. So I think it's about having clear boundaries with everybody, your friends, your family, and your partner. But also, you're allowed to have expectations. And me and Connor have a very strong relationship where we are very much a team. But we didn't just turn out like that. We have had a lot of hard, heavy conversations throughout our relationship. I've always articulated what I expect and asked him to tell me what he expects, and to discuss these things and talk about these things so we can show up as the best version of ourselves with each other. And during this and before this, I was very clear that I didn't want this to break us. I didn't want this to be a blame game. I didn't want this to be, you've done this, I should have done this, you didn't do that, I didn't do that. So he was very, very open to having these difficult conversations, but also for us to communicate throughout. Yes, we had a few arguments throughout. There was times where I thought I was carrying the load on my own a little bit too much, and so we had some difficult conversations and just figured them out, because I definitely feel like it's better to have these conversations, to talk, to discuss, and then move on, rather than sitting harbouring all of this negative energy. And that's, you know, that's ultimately affecting your body, it's affecting your mind, and it's affecting the success rate of the drugs, and you know what your follicles and your eggs can do, and then ultimately how your body holds on to that embryo. So I think clear boundaries, doing things that make you happy, doing things like something every day for yourself, you know, whether that be having your favourite cake, or whether that be, you know, like one of the things I love doing is having a bath, and they say not to have like really long hot baths. That was hard. So, you know, maybe like going out for a little walk in your favourite little forest or, you know, popping to town and getting yourself a little new pair of pyjamas. And Connor was really sweet. Like every Friday during my injections, he would buy me something, like just like a nice like neon set, and he bought me like, what else did he buy me? I think he bought me like a Skims dress when we were in Manchester. And treat yourself. Remember why you're doing it. Have clear boundaries. It's okay to have expectations from people as long as you communicate those, and just keep talking. Keep talking. Keep reminding yourself of why you're doing this. Stay positive. If you can, I did. I stayed as positive as I could. I actually felt like I was in a better mindset than I normally am when I was on the injections, the first lot of injections at least. Well, all of them really. I think because for the first time in years, we were moving forward, and humans thrive off moving forward. And I finally felt like we were going in the right direction, and I can't tell you how fulfilling and gratifying that feeling is, to know that, okay, this is hard, this hurts, it's heavy, it's on my shoulders. People can be there, Connor can be there, my mum can be there, some of my friends can be there, but this is on me. But guess what? We're moving forward for the first time ever, and that alone is such an amazing feeling when you've been stagnant for so many years. So I think just really lean into it and really appreciate that your body is going through so much. So just ask for help, have those difficult conversations, but have them from a place of, let's resolve this, we're a team, rather than let's argue and be against each other. And it'll actually bring you closer. It'll bring you closer to your partner. It'll bring you closer to the people around you who really show up for you. And just remember why you're doing it. Lots of positive affirmations. I used to listen to some really good fertility affirmations. Nice food, treat yourself, watch those TV programs, have boundaries, and just put yourself first. Be selfish and put yourself first. So guys, that is the end of this fertility ask me anything Q&A. I hope I answered your question, and if I didn't, don't worry, you can drop your question below in the comment section, or you can go over to my Instagram. You can find me at Beth Dunleavy on Instagram, and you can send me a message, or better still, comment under one of my pictures. I normally see that more than I see my inbox, because my inbox is a bit crazy at the minute, I'm not gonna lie. Just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for all of your support, all of your love, for your vulnerability, for sharing with me, for supporting me, for just being there for me. I just find it surreal that so many people just believe in me and want the best for me, and I'm just forever grateful. Like I said, definitely make sure to follow me on Instagram, because I'll be sharing our journey real time on there, as well as vlogging as well. And look out for our next vlog, which will be a New York vlog, so a little bit different, stepping away from fertility for a minute and enjoying New York to have a nice reset before we come back for the festive period and to start the injections again, cycle 2. But yeah, I'm gonna leave this here. I love you so much. If you are also going through this, I feel you, I see you, and I hear you, and I am sending you so much positive and fertile energy. And just remember, you're not on your own. You're absolutely not on your own. I'm here with you, and so many other women are too. So stay strong, put yourself first, and make sure you keep yourself in that #1 spot. I'll see you again next time, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Love you loads. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, guys.